We had one more part to this introduction, and that was my part, but we went a little bit fast here. My name is Jeff Parker, and I'm from United Cerebral Palsy UCP class. And the reason I was asked to come this evening also was to kind of talk about the similarities that my agency's mission has, along with what the themes you're going to see in tonight's film. And one of the things we have in common is that we really believe that people should not be defined by their disabilities. And as you see the stars in tonight's film, and that's Jennifer Lowe, it's Spock Shelton, it's Lucas McCarty, and Chris Klein, you're going to definitely see that these are four men and women that are not defined by their disabilities. Another thing that's very important to us is the whole idea of empowering people. And you just met Dr. Bruce Baker, and Dr. Bruce Baker is the inventor of a communication device called the Minspeak. And the Minspeak is really the fifth star of tonight's show. And the Minspeak is the combination of the high-tech voice synthesizer along with the ancient wisdom of the Egyptians using hieroglyphics. And by using symbols and pressing buttons with symbols rather than spelling out every single word, you're able to have an enhanced and speeded up communication system that our stars in tonight's film use. Another important theme that we share is the idea of creating communities. And the whole process of being able to communicate, the determination of our stars, the resource of the Minspeak allows people to communicate with their friends, their spouses, their loved ones, their lovers, their peers, their colleagues. And when you have those relationships, you have a community. And we believe in creating community. And finally, what you're going to see in the movie tonight is that the stars of our movie don't just stop as people who you're using the Minspeak, as using the resource. They're also working toward a community where each belongs. Jen Lowe over here is the executive director of Shout, an international nonprofit that helps find jobs for persons who use augmented communication devices. Chris Klein, another star in tonight's show, owns the nonprofit called Clay Vessel. And this is a nonprofit that helps people find the assistive technology that they need. Spock Shelton over here, between his artwork, and he's an artist, he also does training on Minspeak, and you'll see that in the film. And the fourth star, his name is Lucas McCarty. He's not here this evening, but you'll see that he's a community magnet. Wherever he goes, community appears, and you'll see that in tonight's film. Now, I've spent a lot of time at this theater, and I've seen a lot of movies about disability that just don't quite get it. And my biggest example of this is about 4 years ago, I took my wife to see the movie called $1 Million Baby. And I thought this was going to be a Rocky movie for women, where there's a woman boxer and she's not doing real well, and she goes and finds a curmudgeon of a coach, which was Clint Eastwood, and he teaches her to be a good boxer. But instead, what happened in that movie, my hero, Clint Eastwood, who has knocked off many villains and killed off outlaws and stopped presidential assassins and shot down bombers, he made the decision that as an actor and as a director and as in the movie itself, that it made sense to knock off a person with a severe disability. Never could understand that. But there's other movies that are good movies. Like recently, we've all seen The King's Speech win an Oscar. And that was a movie about a communication disability as well. And it was about the stigma that the person faced. And it was about the potential for leadership, but somebody needed a resource to make things go better. And in that movie, the resource was the speech coach. And as you know, the Duke of Yorkshire ultimately made the most famous speech of all, declaring war on Germany and changing things internationally forever. But it was all because the resource was available for him. And that's the final two messages for you to get out of this movie tonight. The Minspeak, the invention of Dr. Baker. And what you'll also know is that he invented that because he was very moved by seeing the stigma that people face having communication difficulties. But that resource is something that ultimately it costs something. And we're all at a point in time right now where nationally and statewide, we have to make decisions about what resources are going to go forward, what programs are going to go forward, and where we're going to use our funding. And that's not somebody else making that decision. You all here are stewards of where our funding goes and what programs happen and whether there's Minspeaks available or not. And that's important for you to remember. There's one other theme from this movie to remember too. And You know, across the theater from here, another showing here tonight is Thor, and that's a movie about a superhero. And I say, you know, they dress Thor up like a World Federation wrestler, so the men like him, and he rips his shirt off a lot, so the women like him. But that's a superhero. And you're going to be tempted in this movie tonight to think of our stars in the movie as superheroes, as extraordinary, as inspirational. And a secret that you need to know is that's the last thing they want you to think of them as. What they want you to really see and understand is how determined and how hard they work to be part of the community. And you and I and everyone else here, we're the gatekeepers to make that community happen for people. And if you think about it, if you get the message of this movie, you know, it's your job when you meet the future Jen Lowe to go up and say, hey, we saved a seat over here for you. Or when you meet the next Bach Shelton to say, you know, we're going out tonight, are you coming with us? Or when you meet the Chris Klein, you ask him that if he wants to come and join your party. Or if you go to Lucas McCarty, you ask him to tell him the drinks are on him because he's not going to get out of the round that time. And that's what people usually say to me. But that's your job, to be stewards of the resources, to be the gatekeepers of the community. And with that, and I'm sorry we had a false start here, but with that, we're going to present to you The Only God Can Hear Me, the movie that should have been the Valentine movie I took my wife to, but it's a movie that tonight can speak to your heart. And all else I can say is, when you see this movie and you hear this movie, you ain't heard nothing yet. So thank you for being here this evening. Bye.